Hi everybody! In today's video, we're going to talk about cool chord substitutions that you can do over your 1-6-2-5s. So we're gonna stay on the path toward rhythm changes. We've done 2 videos on 1-6-2-5s, and we're gonna keep going forward. I'm gonna do my examples in C today, and I'm gonna use the dominant 6 chord, not the minor, for almost everything. So C major is the 1, A7 is the 6 chord, D minor is the 2 chord, G7 is the 5 chord. The first thing I want to do is take a second and talk about the dominant 6 chord and how I hear it. It's not really a substitution you play, this is a substitution you hear. So that A7, in the context we're in, you could think of it as A7, the 5 of an E minor, 2-5-1 in D. So to treat that A7 like a 5 chord, that's one way to hear it. Another way to hear it is with a 7-flat-9 tonality. So there's just your regular 7 chord, but let's play a 7-flat-9 arpeggio type thing. You can also think of that as just a diminished off of the flat 9. So there's the flat 9. And you can hear how these notes, like this flat 9, fit right in there. You can hear that it works. You can also think of this like a flat 9 coming off of the 1. Diminished off the flat 9. Or the dominant 6 with a flat 9 in it. I don't think of it as the flat 9 of the 1 or the 6. I think of it as one set of notes that works, because the diminished scale off the 1 has that same B flat note in it. That's the flat 9 of the A minor. So it's really one sound, 2 different ways to think about it. Or you can think about it like a 7-flat-9 arpeggio off of either one of those notes as well. So right off the C, 7-flat-9 arpeggio. We'll do one off the A as well. These are ways to hear it, but these are also places that chords come from. Like a 7-flat-9 over the 6, it's got that arpeggio in there, or that diminished scale, however you want to think about it. So when you're playing chord substitutions, a lot of times that kind of stuff is where it's coming from. So what I'm saying is this is a way to hear the substitutions and not the actual chord itself. Like, take that A7. Okay, so let's move on from that. Really important concept. Your C major, we can substitute the minor 3 for that. So in C major, the 3 is 1, 2, 3. In E minor, so we can play 1, 6, 2, 5, 3. So first real substitution in this video, subbing the 3 for the 1. If you think about a C major and the notes that make it, C, E, G, B. Well, the E minor 7 has the E, it has the G, it has the B, and what it has different is it has the D, which is the 9. So it's the same as playing a major 9 chord. Those are the same chords with different roots. Or they're two different chords. C major 9, E minor 7. Or you could say that those are the same two chords. So that's the first sub. The 3 instead of the 1. The minor 3 instead of the regular old 1. That gives you the ability to go 1 6 2 5 3 6 2 5 1 6 2 5 3 6 2 5 1. You can do it down here in the position where the C is on the A string. 1 6 2 5 3 6 2 5. So the second type of substitution I want to talk about is playing chord fragments, or just the important notes. Bruce Foreman calls it playing the guts. So we're gonna drop the roots off and just play the middle 2 strings here. What you're hearing is 1 6 2 5 3 6 2 5 1. So if we play the same thing with the actual chords, everything I just did is inside of there. Here's your C major 7. It's got the major 7 and the major 3. A7, got the major 3, the flat 7. D minor 7, got the flat 7, got the minor 3. G7, major 3rd, flat 7. On the 3 6 2 5 1 part. E minor, got the flat 7, flat 3. A7, major 3, flat 7. D minor 7, got the flat 7, got the minor 3. G7, major 3rd, flat 7. So what you're getting is the 7 and the 3rd of all these chords. The 1 and the 5 don't really define. They're just power chords. It's the 3rds and the 7ths and the other notes that give the chords their true tonality. The 1 and the 5 are kind of the walls, and the 3rd and the 7th and any alterations or extensions are kind of like what's inside of the room. So that's playing just the inside notes of the chords. Down here in the C position, you can figure out all the same stuff. So that's playing just the important notes, which is when most people think of chord substitution, they think of altered chords. But a really important part of chord substitution is just note selection from within your regular chords. Like a side note example of this, I'll stay with C. When I play the blues, I like to play those inside chords. So instead of going, I like to go. Something like that. It's important to know that substitution is a way to stay out of the way of the other instruments on stage and to create space in the music, not just a way to get altered chords in there. Okay, let's move on and get into altering the sound with your substitutions and not just playing in the key. So I think the most important substitution for a 3-6-2-5-1 is the one that has the chromatic bass movement, where you have this sound underneath your chords. So to achieve this, instead of playing A7 for the 6, we're going to play a substitution for that by using C sharp diminished. The reason this works is that whole thing I went on about in the beginning with the diminished scale. You hear it? There it is. So I'm playing a diminished chord with a sharp 5 in it, or a flat 13. I think this movement, here's that chord again in a different place. I think that voicing is probably the most common on guitar for this, for that movement, I think. You can also just play a regular diminished chord, but it doesn't sound as cool as the one with the flat 13 or sharp 5, whatever you want to call it. You can think about this as an A7 flat 9 chord. So the next thing to add is, instead of going to the 5, we're going to keep moving up. And we're going to use this voicing again in a different place. Half step up from the 2, the E flat note. And we're going to land on the E, which is the 3, for 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. So the reason this works is kind of weird. So we know that we can play a diminished chord that relates back to this A7, the dominant 6 of the song. That's the same as going. So we're moving up, got that chord voicing there, and then we're doing it again here. And the reason that works is something called a secondary dominant. We're heading to this E here, and if we're just thinking E note, E scale, E major, the 5 would be B. Okay, so what's happening is we're playing a 5, a secondary dominant leading to the minor 3. So just for a moment there, we're treating E, the third of our song in C, as its own 1. So you've got the C major, it's the 1. That's the dominant 6, but we're playing the C sharp diminished, which is the A7 flat 9. D minor 7 like normal, but then we're moving up, and what we're really playing is this B7 flat 9 leading back to E minor. So I'm going to play it one time with these flat 9 chords instead of the diminished chords. And hopefully you can hear this part right here as a secondary dominant leading back to the minor 3 of the song. And then we'll do it with the chromatic root movement, the diminished chords. Okay, the next thing to make this cool is when we get up to the 3, instead of moving to the 5, we'll use tritone substitutions to descend back down. Okay, so what's going on here is actually pretty easy to understand. When we get up to the 3-6-2-5-1 bar, for the 6 and the 5, we're just playing some basic tritone substitutions. So that's an E flat note. E flat is a tritone away from A. So you can pretty much substitute any 7th chord with another 7th chord a flat 5 away, or a tritone away. It's called a tritone because it's 3 whole steps. So we're working up to it. Basic 7th chord. What I like to use is 7 flat 5 chords when I'm walking back down. It just sounds good to me. So to apply this same principle to your C major that starts on the A string and the chords that go with that, I like to use a regular diminished instead of the one with the sharp 5. A regular diminished is just cool sounding there because from this standard C major 7 voicing, you just change these 2 notes. The root goes up 1 and the 7 goes down 1, and you've got the diminished for the C sharp. D minor 7 like normal. Diminished again for the E flat. Now for heading back down, instead of using the 7 flat 5 chords, I'm using a 7 sharp 9 chord. I just like the way it sounds. You're going to find out a lot of this is you find what you like, and that's what you play. So that's how you sub in the chromatic root movement. This whole thing, the root's going dun, 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 dun. Same thing here. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, you get it. I'm going to call the chromatic root movement substitution a cliche, but not in a bad way. It's like something important that you should play, even though it's been played a lot, and it's one of the standard. That's like these are standard sets of voicings for playing 1-6-2-5, 3-6-2-5-1, and for playing rhythm changes. And they're a cliche, but you should play them anyway. You don't have to do it differently when there's already something so beautiful there for you to play. Now to totally change things up, let's make our 2 a dominant 7 chord instead of a minor chord. Like this. And to top it off, let's play the 3, and let's, instead of making the 3 a minor and the 2 a minor, let's make both of those dominant 7 chords. So what you have here from the 3, 6, 2, 5, E, A, D, G, E, A, D, G. What this gives us is 7th chords moving in a cycle. So one of the reasons this is super cool is because it introduces voice leading on those important notes we talked about earlier. You get this chromatic movement down. So you got the 1, then over the 6, you're getting the 3rd and the flat 7th of that chord. Over the 2, you're getting the flat 7 and the 3rd of that chord. Over the 5, you're getting the 3rd and the flat 7th of that chord. And then when you go up to the 6, you're getting the flat 7 and the 3rd. And on down. So it creates a really cool chromatic two-note voice leading. Also on the level of actually soloing, these cycles open up a whole different way of playing. These cycles allow you to play in multiple keys in your solo. If you treat these each like their own Mixolydian, which is one way to think about it. E, then A7, D7, back to your C major. I'm just going to play right up the scale on these. So those are some ways to implement chord substitution on a 1-6-2-5, and all of this will apply when you're playing rhythm changes. You can figure out cool ways to fit in all of these ideas. These substitutions will serve you anytime you see a 1-6-2-5 or 3-6-2-5-1. As you're playing, you'll have these options. Sometimes just regular 3-6-2-5-1 is the prettiest thing you could play. So don't get too hung up on subs and alterations and stuff. Subscribe now. The walking bass video is coming up. The video on just tritone subs is coming up, and I also have a video on the way about the Coltrane turnarounds. People have asked me a few times about that, and I can explain it, at least in the context that I apply it when I play. So that's coming up too. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, leave me a comment down there, and if you know anybody that is into guitar and would enjoy learning this stuff, please share the video, because I just want to reach out to as many people as I can and talk about playing guitar and playing jazz. Anyway, really appreciate you learning guitar with me. I'm Bird Snake. Thanks for watching.